A couple of hours ago, I put a post on Twitter asking people which is the real Valiant Dynamos and which is the fake one. A lot of people had very mixed answers. Some thought the left one was fake, some thought the right one was fake, some even had some theories whereas the left one is fake, while others had different theories why the right one is fake. And the answer, well, have a look yourself. Which one do you think is the real one? Which one is the fake one? Actually, the left one is the real Valiant Dynamos. Yes, indeed, the bolded text on the real Valiant Dynamos is actually a telltale sign that this is a real card compared to the fake ones. Among all the fake legendaries that I had sent to me, you can see that each one of these has a slightly thinner text than the real ones. The real ones have a slightly bolder text. They also have some slightly different symbols on them. Like, for some reason, the symbols on the fake cards are actually a lot crisper than the symbols on the real cards, which is a bit surprising. And I guess the best way to do it is just put a real card with similar symbols next to it and just compare the two. So another thing that I notice is among the fake cards is that a fake card is just slightly smaller than a real card. So if you put them next to a real card or you put it in the middle of a stack of cards, you can really see like this really tiny gap between the real and the fake card. They are just like the slightest sliver thinner than other cards, and they also have this really strange border around them that like the cards almost feel a bit thicker than the real ones, and you can actually see when you reflect it into the light, you can see this little bit of the edge seems to be a little bit more extruded than the other card. However, I did see similar edges with the Japanese prints of Flesh and Blood, where the edge was a bit different or differently cut than other cards from Belgian or US prints. So I don't think looking at the edge itself is a good way to differentiate the two of them and see which one is different. Which leaves us with other ways to tell if the card is real or not. One of the good ways to tell if the card is real or not is simply turning on a flashlight on your phone, or maybe you carry a flashlight with you, and shine the light directly through the card. Here are some recordings like this is a real Flesh and Blood card, a real legendary. You can see that the light shining through has this very distinct white color. Like this is probably because I think Flesh and Blood cards have a black core, so the light that filters through is actually just white light, the same light as on the flashlight or on your phone. However, when I look at fake cards, especially all the foil ones, you can see this very distinct blue light shining through because these most likely have a blue core, while some of the non-foil legendaries and also the non-foil staples that are fake, they have a red core paper in the middle, which results in the light having this very slight yellow or reddish tint to it. So I suggest just take your cards into a dark room, take one card that you know for certain is a real Flesh and Blood card, either a foil or a non-foil. Take your fake card as well, hold a light against it in the darkness, make sure to tell your partner that you're not doing anything weird in that room, and then just compare the two of them. You can see that the fake ones, they have this very distinct yellow reddish tint to them, while the legendaries, the foil cards, have this distinct blue tint to them. This is a telltale sign that this is probably gonna be a fake card, and you should probably contact the seller to get a refund if you are now in possession of one of these. Another thing, if you have a jeweler's loop, a good way is to zoom in onto all the details on the cards. Some things that I notice is that, for example, the trademark symbol at the back of the card on a real card is very crisp, while on a fake card is a little bit fuzzy, like just slightly fuzzier than the real one. Same with things like if you look at the sword at the very top or the snake at the very bottom, you can see that the real cards are just a little bit more crisp than the fake ones. And when you compare the Rosetta pattern of both of these cards, it looks very similar. Like the Rosetta pattern of a fake card seems to be a little bit bigger than the real one. However, I wouldn't say it's like a huge difference, so I think the Rosetta pattern is not a great way to tell them apart. The foiling of the cards, they actually, like the foiling and the surface of the cards look very similar. They even feel very similar. Like I don't feel the madness or the glossiness of the cards is all that much different from the real ones. If we look at the Swarming Gloomville, for example, and we look at the casting cost at the upper right of the card, you can see that the little black swirly thing that is around the cast itself is just differently shaped. Like for the fake one, it's a lot smaller than the real one. So this again, put these two symbols next to each other between a real and a fake one, and you can probably tell the difference. Most likely these counterfeiters are going to fix this in the future. We've seen in the Magic the Gathering that once they have newer version prints out there, then they start to make the prints a little bit different and a little bit more resembling the real one. So I think the light test is probably still the better way to test things, as well as looking at the crispness of all these little details on the back of the cards. And I also noticed that overall, when you put all these cards next to each other, like a real card versus a fake one, the fake ones, they look a little bit washed out, and the tint and how to say, like the brightness and the contrast of the cards seems to be a little bit lower than the real one. So if you put these cards next to each other and you notice that one is distinctly lighter than the other one, you should definitely do a light test and stuff like that to have a bit of a closer look to make sure that it's actually a real or a fake card, because I don't want any of you to get scammed, of course. So other than that, I haven't really found anything on here that is really distinctly able to tell these two versions apart. But I think with all the information that I've given you today, you should be able to verify whether your card is real or not. If you have any other tips, or you have noticed anything else with fake cards in general that you think is important for everyone to know, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I will probably do an update video in the future if I figure out more ways to tell these cards apart, because it's becoming a bit of a problem. Some people are trying to pass these off as real, selling them to new players that don't really know all that much about Flesh and Blood, and I don't want anyone to get scammed. So anyways, this is all from me for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon with another video. Take care.